I have to apologize to my chat. Not something I do often because it's almost never deserved, but I need to apologize. Well, it's a half apology. But let's talk about it. Okay? A few days ago, we watched a video by Johnny Harris about what a billionaire's lifestyle is like. And in that video, he was talking about polo as a sport because billionaires love polo. And I mentioned in this video that sports like polo, and I said, and golf, are dying. They're dying as the old, rich, white, boomery crowd dies off. Okay, and the young people are not getting into them as much. Some people in chat disagreed, so we got into an argument. You know, I'm like, no, it's on the downswing. The reason I said that was because I had two facts in my back pocket that I think led me to be overly confident in that conclusion. These are the two facts, okay? Fact number one that I knew I had seen recently was that golf courses had been closing basically ever since the end of the Tiger Woods era. Basically, there was a Tiger Woods boom pre-2005, and then after that, they'd been closing golf courses every year. I knew that to be a fact. The second thing I knew was that golf ratings, like viewership of golf, had also been dropping every year. Golf ratings were dropping consistently for decades now, actually, basically since the end of Tiger. I knew golf ratings were down and golf stores were closing, and I was like, well, okay, golf's dead. But what I did not know was that golf has not died, but in fact changed and is doing actually rather well. So I decided to look into it. So again, I thought Tiger Woods era was over. The new number one guy in golf is this guy, not nearly as popular. Nobody likes to watch him win nearly as much. He just doesn't have the star power. So I figured if nobody's watching it and the courses are closing, we're good. It's dead. Lowest ratings. This is the recent Masters. Lowest ratings. But despite the fact that viewership is down and there are fewer overall courses, golf participation is at all-time highs. People are playing. Now, let's be clear here. This green bar is really important though, because this is off-course participants. So that's what I want to break down because I talk to people about this. This is the numbers that golf will put out. So you can see golf dying, and then COVID changed everything. The COVID era. And all of a sudden there's way more rounds of golf played. However, anecdotally, I looked, you know, I like to read about some anecdotes too, to mix with the data, to make sure I'm not missing some important anecdotes. And again, the chat's voice was an anecdote from the golfers in chat. I looked at our golf, where they said, hey, is golf growing a lot with younger populations? I'm 20 years old and I'm seeing all my friends starting to buy clubs. So you can start to see like, okay, wait a minute, there could be something here. And then I remembered that on my own channel, 5 months ago, I covered Gen Z is storming the links. This is big A. 5 months ago, I talked about this. So I'm getting two separate sources of data here. I'm getting the fact that like playing rounds is up. There's clearly some trend with Gen Z, but viewership is down and courses are closing. And the way you square that circle is that golf and some other sports, I'm gonna talk about that in a second, have entered a sort of Gen Z era where after COVID fucked up everything, people were desperate for ways to socialize and engage outside. And golf, which by the way was like socially distant or whatever, so it didn't shut down, was one of the biggest beneficiaries. And it wasn't just the COVID boom, it has kept going after, like a lot of things have fallen off post-COVID. Golf has remained steady positive, new, younger entrants. Even women used to be like 10% of new golfers, now it's like 35%. And in fact, as this article mentions, not only are young people getting in, but the old people in the sport fucking hate them. The boomers wish they'd get lost. The boomers are actually nonstop bitching and complaining about the Zoomers taking their slots at the golf course or like not wearing proper attire or not whatever. There's actually a big generational warfare in golf that I discovered. So Gen Z's getting into it partly because there's a surge in interest in being outdoors post-COVID. Also, it's become a bit of a Gen Z cool status symbol-y, Instagram-y thing, okay? Harry Styles is playing golf. There's like fashion influencers playing golf. It's become like an old money kind of aesthetic that's like getting popular on like TikTok and Instagram. But here's the fucking deal, okay? Here's why I think it's kind of like half right, half wrong. Because the data does show that golf, as you might understand it to an old boomer is dying. Like traditional 18 rounds, 18 hole golf with like a polo shirt is dying. That is like falling off. And the new golf is like 9 hole rounds and driving ranges. This is like a huge part of the surge of golf. This is what people are playing. Zoomers are going to driving ranges. Like all this data that they show for growing golf is they call it, quote, golf adjacent activities. And that includes simulators, driving ranges, and shortened round golf, which is like a 9-holer or a 6-holer. Again, they're picking up a club and they're hitting a ball. So like it is golf, don't get me wrong. And I have to fully admit that, but it's like a changed dynamic of the sport. And what's interesting is a lot of these young people that are getting into golf don't even watch golf. They just like to go drink with the boys or the girls, hit some balls so you can hit it farther and not watch the sport. It's a bit of column A, a bit of column B. I mean, it seems actually kind of fun, low-key. I've been reading about a lot about golf yesterday and today. So a huge part of it's Top Golf, which has been surging, which has created more of a gamified TikTok-y golf where you hit a ball, it lights up, you get a score. You don't have to think so hard. You can just hit it. You can be new. This stuff has been surging. And additionally, it adds up. So one of my editors was talking about this video while I was like mentioning I was going to talk about it today. And he's like, that's interesting. It makes sense. Since a majority of people I would have been in high school with now own golf clubs, but I've never seen any of them or heard about them going to hit 18 holes or a back 9 or something. But I have heard them talking about going to whack some balls at the driving range. Like vibe-based golf is on the upswing. So shout out to Aaron for that. And then when you read like golf industry magazines or golf industry websites, they talk about how the thriving financial future of the sport is in like these short and sweet 9 holes, small par 3 holes, half the size. You can do it on a lunch break. You can do it in a few hours. Like this stuff is what they see as the future because that is what the more casual new Gen Z fan want to do. The future of golf from Golf Dom, which sounds like a sexual thing, but is just the golf fan thing. There's a bright future for the 9-hole round. The presence of new golf-like models like Top Golf can increase game exposure. I see a future in the world of 9-hole golf courses. So you'll see the golf participation is actually higher off course than on course only. People that are just pure golfers. And that's where you're getting all the new female, non-white, younger audience. This is where that's coming from. It's like this new rising off-course action of golf. Now, what's interesting, okay, is there's also an element, and I want you guys to tell me what you think, because again, I'll fully admit now that I am not part of this golfing scene, so I don't want to speak about it without hearing more. But this article posited that part of the rise of golf specifically among Gen Z is that they're almost interested in the look and feel of the old money aesthetic. They say like, it's the desire of younger generations dissatisfied with their lot in life to leapfrog their socioeconomic circumstances, to like look and feel wealthy. And like, ideally it helps them like, I don't know, network or whatever into the lifestyle they want. They want this idea of act rich, become rich. Again, 2/3 of Gen Z and nearly 3/4 of millennials said last year they want to be billionaires. Now again, who wouldn't say they want to be a billionaire is what I thought. But when they did this in 2008, only 13% of adults said that. So it's become more common to like want to be a billionaire because I think it's a response to seeing a world where if you're not a billionaire, it's a lot harder. Yeah, and again, I did see a lot of, when I was looking into this, a ton of golf aesthetic stuff on like TikTok and Instagram, polo shirts, tennis skirts, etc. So there is something to this. I also want to say, and this is like a big miss on my part, the background image to what I'm looking at right now is a show where Owen Wilson finds out there's this great Gen Z. It's all about Gen Z golfers beating boomers. And I watched this show. I've watched every episode. So I don't know what the fuck I didn't think about. This is literally a show where this old washed up boomer golfer is like, sees this young thriving Zoomer golfer, by the way, on a driving range.
Hey, $20 says you can't put it within 5 feet of that 200-yard marker.
Cinema. Boomers are dead. I mean, he's also got a girlfriend who's like gender fluid, anti-capital. Like it's so obviously like this show is for, the subtitle of the show should be like, golf's not for boomers anymore. That should be the title of the show. So that, you know, I want to fully admit there is a thriving new entry of Gen Z, including women, people who aren't white, into the world of golf. They're not playing as much traditional golf. And I do think traditional 18-hole polo shirt golf can be in trouble. I still stand by that. I would keep an eye out because those courses are still downsizing or closing and the viewership is still down, but attendance is up and Zoomers are getting into golf in a major way. I want to say sorry to R-Dub specifically. I do want to add to this. Let's throw some more controversy into the mix, okay? So I was like, okay. But by the way, polo is dying. Polo is not the same because polo is far too expensive for people to LARP. You can't LARP polo because you need a horse. So polo, that still is dying. Golf is not. But I wanted to look what other sports are dying because obviously not all sports can be growing at all times. There must be some sports that are trending up or down with Gen Z, especially because as younger generations play more esports and actually just spend less time outside, they can't all be doing good, even if golf is doing better. So there's three I think that might be interesting that maybe I'll have to give 3 apologies for, but this is the data I could find, okay? Number 1, boxing. Boxing is slowly dying, not only from viewership and attendance, but of young people getting into it because the danger is high. People are afraid of CTE. So boxing is on the downswing. However, ironically, it's mostly because a lot of their audience switched to MMA. Which is like possibly more dangerous. So it's like boxing is just kind of like the middle ground that's like too boring for the hardcore fans and too unsafe for the casual fans. So boxing is dying. Baseball. Now, baseball's had a long and storied run, but it can no longer by any metric, whether it's attendance or viewership, be really called America's #1 sport or America's pastime. They have had, you know, the Shohei Ohtani resurgence. They've had some good viewership, I think, on the past couple World Series, but overall, like young people getting into the sport is down. So it is like trending downwards. There's like, it's not like an immediate, but it's a watch on baseball. Of the big 3, baseball is most at risk. And then finally, one that is guaranteed dying is bowling. Bowling might be just a relic of the past. Bowling just has not caught on with young people in the way that it did with old people. And so now, much like golf courses, bowling rinks or bowling alleys are closing en masse. There's a mass closure of bowling alleys across America, and people aren't getting into it, especially competitively like they used to. Even just for fun. I'm not saying nobody nowhere. I've gone bowling within the past year, because you're gonna call me a boomer for that, but it's trending downwards overall. So those, I would say, I'm throwing those up as an offer while I do say that golf is actually growing in terms of attendance.